74 years of MELM, the computer that hinted how machines could be taught to think. The 25th of December 1951 in Kiev, the State Commission approved MELM, the first universal digital computer in continental Europe. On MELM, critically important scientific and engineering tasks were solved: calculations for energy and electrical networks, trajectory computations for ballistic and space rockets, design calculations for thermonuclear weapons, and many other extremely complex mathematical tasks. This is why MELM was known. But what it hinted to the world remains almost entirely unknown. The story of MELM began with Sergei Lebedyev's idea to create a digital calculating machine for energy-related calculations. Before this, he worked on specialized analog computing machines. He learned about programmable digital computers abroad from publications in journals. The ideas of Alan Turing suggested the possibility of creating a universal machine that executes programs stored in its own memory. Unlike most computers of that time, MELM was not funded by military budgets. Funding came via the Institute of Electrical Engineering as an experimental project. The development started with a team of 10 engineers, and upon completion, about 20 engineers were involved. Sometimes parts were bought personally at Kiev radio markets, and even found in military facility landfills. Lebedev was extremely demanding, but also witty, humane, and most importantly, inspiring. MELM's architecture contained original solutions that held hints for future important achievements. The computer's resources were extremely limited, forcing the use of sophisticated programming methods. For example, one command intended for array processing was repurposed for second-level addressing. Years later, this would be called pointers, the foundation of modern programming technologies. Ideas of indirect addressing of the second and higher levels were a decade ahead of other countries. The ideas of MELM were developed further in the Kiev computer and later adopted in almost all Soviet computers. MELM is well known in the international scientific community, yet its true role remains underestimated. The main reason: systematic concealment of MELM's significance and the first achievements of Kiev engineers and programmers by the Soviet scientific leadership. The world should know about MELM, just as it knows about Babbage's computer, because MELM contained the hints to a new era of computers.